So we work right across the cancer spectrum, and that's from investing in research to lobbying politicians in terms of trying to inform legislation, to running cancer prevention and health promotional campaigns, and also importantly providing patient care services right here in Northern Ireland. Cancer, is something that's going to affect most of us in Northern Ireland. So 1 in 2 of us will receive a diagnosis now in our lifetime, but obviously everyone in Northern Ireland is going to be affected by that in terms of being connected to someone who perhaps has a diagnosis. So it's really important that services, support services and information are accessible regionally right across Northern Ireland. One of the things that I enjoy most is to listen to people and to listen to patients that have used our services, and to hear sometimes that we're meeting people at their greatest point of need. Having received a cancer diagnosis, really bad news, or availing of our support during the treatment pathway. And sometimes we've heard that that's been life-saving for patients. So for the niche services that we provide that aren't provided by other organisations, for the emotional and psychological support services, for everything that we try to do around influencing government in terms of legislation, if we didn't exist, I think Northern Ireland would be a poorer place for cancer patients.
Basically, it involves identifying foster carers to actually train the AD&I puppy that we source, and they are trained under our supervision and guidance. For an autism assistance dog, it takes approximately 12 months, and for a disability assistance dogs, you're looking at 16 to 18 months. This is a cost-effective intervention. The dogs are able to do things no humans are able to do, even within the school setting. For example, when Echo was placed on his very first day, he worked with a child who was very close to being expelled. He had 2 classroom assistants and the teacher, and they still couldn't contain him. And I said, use Echo as a motivator. Good work, good behaviour, and you'll get to see him at lunchtime. And that worked. And then the same in the afternoon. And I went in the next day and the classroom assistant said, Echo has done what no human is able to do. And as a result of Echo's input, they now were able to redeploy that second classroom assistant, and they now are at the stage where that young person doesn't need that input. And at that stage, the upkeep of the dog was £1,500. Now, where would you get someone that would work for £1,500 a year and affect so much change?
Firstly, it's life-changing for us. It's been life-changing. This time last year, we were in a dire situation. I mean, even my own mental health had been affected because of it all. But now, Marvel just has been life-changing for us. He has changed our whole outlook. And not only us, I mean, I've made friends through assistance dogs with people who are going through similar situations. And I think when you're a child or a parent of a child with special needs, you can sometimes feel like you're on your own and that nobody understands, or that you're being judged for the way that you parent, or you're being judged because your child's lying on the floor having a meltdown. But now I have somebody who I know understands what I'm going through, and who we can bounce off ideas, things that have worked for her, things that have worked for me.
In any given year, we're delivering between 140 and 160 new business startups. We then would have thousands that have been through over the years. There's been some work done around the longevity of the businesses, how long do they stay in existence, and we have noticed certainly that with the support and the wraparound, business failure is reduced. The first 2 to 5 years in a business are extremely difficult, and a lot of businesses, perhaps up to 50%, fail in those first 2 to 5 years. So they're trying to help them through those challenges is what we do a lot of, and therefore we see more businesses going on into their 6th and up to their 10 years. Whereas without the support, I do believe you'd find that the stats show that a lot more will be failing. A fair bit of our funding comes from our rental of our units. We get some funding in from the Enterprise Northern Ireland network, where we have particular programmes we deliver on behalf of council or central government. We also get programmes that were European funded. Now those are all going to be set aside. So the funding gap is something we've been quite concerned about for the last sort of 18 months, 2 years. So it is an area we're not quite sure.
We are an organisation that helps people out of poverty and helps people to improve their quality of life. We are a network of 60 members across Northern Ireland that provide advice on housing, employment, tax and benefits. We dealt with just under 250,000 inquiries on benefits that was collectively with the independent advice sector. And we would measure, for example, the benefit uptake maximisation. We would measure debt that was dealt with. We would measure, for example, satisfaction with training, number of users to our website, how users are contacting us. I suppose the advice sector is like a shock absorber for when things go wrong, and we are there really to pick people up whenever the likes of the cost of living crisis is coming in, when people are facing problems and not able to make ends meet, whenever they're choosing between food and fuel.
Yeah, Action Mental Health is a regional provider of mental health services in Northern Ireland, and we've been in Northern Ireland for 60 years. We were created in Downpatrick many years ago, and we've grown our services now to provide a good regional coverage across the whole of the province. And like a lot of the voluntary community sector, we're very close to our community and we're able to stay in touch with them and really know their needs. As I say, we have a regional service, we have 14 sites, and interesting enough, although those services effectively deliver the same type of services, all of them are very different in those particular sites. And in terms of tackling mental health, there are so many issues that need to be tackled. And it's not just in terms of the people who are referred to us from the health trusts who have diagnosed mental health issues, a whole range of those, but it's also out in the community. Good mental health and well-being, it sort of helps to bind people together. They do feel better and they feel open about talking about things as well. So one of the big things that we are doing is encouraging people to talk about their mental health, talk about well-being, and not being frightened to reach out and say, look, I need a bit of help here.